and take you to Parliament, where religious leaders pushed for a soft landing of the IEBC commissioners today to ensure there are no legal challenges in the future. The leaders who brokered the formation of a joint select committee were giving their views as the teams began their work in earnest. Our senior political reporter Chris Dairu has more from Parliament.
Or otherwise.
After putting their house in order and agreeing on their terms of preference, the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee, mandated to unlock the IEBC stalemate, got down to business and started collecting proposals from stakeholders. First to appear before the committee was the interreligious leaders who played a major role in bringing both parties together. The group is pushing for an exit plan for the commissioners that is devoid of any legal challenges.
There can be a mechanism of coming to a conclusion about transition even without affirming culpability and finding an acceptable mechanism not to violate the Constitution and the laws in managing the transition.
This mandate must be carried out with absolute urgency to ensure that the leadership of the IEBC is transitioned early enough to allow the new team enough time to prepare for the August 2017 general elections.
We, as the Karanja said, spoke to them, and they said if they will have a clear window of exit, which of course now gravitates towards what Mheshimiwa Murkomen said, we have no problem in prevailing upon those people to exit. Of course, they have alluded to that.
The religious leaders, however, propose that the commissioners should not be victimized during this process.
I'm worried some activists may soon run to court to stop the proceedings, and that will translate into this committee and the entire nations in a gridlock.
If there is a general drift and agreement towards them accepting to exit, why would we want to still drag the public towards preparing grounds for removal, which sometimes is very difficult, getting evidence, submitting evidence?
For us, the transition is not obvious. We have to listen to the allegations against the commissioners first and the secretariat. And it is only when we find that there are serious allegations which are verified, it is only on that basis we can actually definitely talk about the transition.
The religious leaders are expected to attend a multi-sectoral forum on Tuesday and Wednesday that will bring on board religious organizations, civil society, trade unions, as well as the business community before they adopt their final recommendation regarding the fate of the IEBC.
Come out boldly and tell Kenyans boldly, this is what we need to do, because I think this committee will not do any justice to this country if you do not tell us boldly how we are going to conduct not the 2017 election, but the 2022 election.
We have got no privilege, no liberty, and no luxury of extending the date of the general election, even by 1 day.
Meanwhile, members of the Joint Select Committee have raised a red flag over a similar process being undertaken by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee.
Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, I don't think it will be outside your mandate to call them for a word of prayer and read that little scripture that you read for us, so that this environment turns out to be a positive environment for the very important assignment that we have.
The Joint Select Committee later met the Kenya Evangelical Alliance and the Hindu Council, who also presented their submissions. The committee now remains with only 3 weeks before presenting their report before both houses for debate and approval. With the opposition chord having threatened to go back to the streets and protest over the IEBC stalemate, focus now shifts to the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, led by Samuel Chepkonga, to see whether they will stop their proceedings and avoid jeopardizing any gains made by the Joint Select Committee. Chris Dairu, KTN News.